This is Tzvi from West Bank Wines, and tonight I'm going to talk to you guys about a very special wine. I'm actually not just talk about it, I'm going to drink it and review it. But before I do that, I just want to let you guys know, kind of, if you haven't already figured out, what really the mission statement of West Bank Wines is. About 2 years ago, I set out on a mission to take all of the wines of the Judea Samaria region of Israel, the West Bank, and every single wine is made in a place that is connected to the Torah and to Jewish history and biblical and things of that nature. You can pretty much go up and down the road, Route 60 actually, to be exact. It's a place like Hebron to Shiloh to Beitel to Jerusalem, and you can find a winery where the wine is connected to our ancient history. So the wine that we're going to be talking about tonight is actually a wine from a place called Psagot. Psagot is actually a town that was built in a modern, it's a modern incarnation of an ancient place. And the place was actually built near a cave that was basically found to be from the time of the, I believe it was the Second Temple. And the winery is called Psagot. Actually, incidentally, the winemaker, one of the winemakers, his name is Yaakov Berg. I would like to call him a compatriot of mine. We were both born in the former Soviet Union, what was then the former Soviet Union. He was born in Moscow. His parents brought him to Israel at a young age. I was born in Lvov. My path was a little different. I grew up in the States, lived in Israel for a little bit. I'll tell you guys about that later at a different time. So the Psagot winery has been around since, I believe, I think 2004, 2005. As most wineries in this region, they've been kind of under attack by certain boycott groups, BDS, what have you, because they're inside what's called the Green Line. But ultimately, this entire area, the area called Judea Samaria, is essentially the cradle of Jewish civilization. And people should not forget that. And the amazing part is if let's say you read this bottle, it says, and this bottle has a coin on it. It's a coin that was actually found in the cave from the time of the first revolt. So at the time there were three groups. There was a group, I guess the moderate group. And they were actually in favor of, I guess, negotiating with Rome, living with Rome. Eventually, then ended up fighting against Rome. And then there was these two other groups. One was like the Zealots, and the other one, I believe, was a Sakari. So those two groups are fighting each other. The two Zealotrous groups are fighting, I guess, the more moderate group. So the amazing part is that at that time, Israel was a wine-producing country, one of the first wine-producing countries. And then, we were kicked out of the land, and basically the land was barren in terms of wine production and other things for about 2,000 years. And now we're back, and now Israel is once again becoming a wine-producing country. And it is so much so that this particular vintage, this particular wine, the Psagot Peak, and this is where I'll get into what we're going to be drinking, which is a 42% Syrah, 42% Petite Syrah, and a 16%, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, more verde. And this particular wine received a 95 rating from the Decanter magazine, Decanter Award. It's one of the biggest deals, biggest kind of like penultimate moments for Israeli wine in a very long time. And yeah, so we're gonna taste this wine. This actually, just to let you guys know, I actually opened this bottle yesterday, and then I actually served it. Upon opening, I let it breathe. I actually served it initially. I was using an aerator. It's essentially the same effect as a decanter. Open up the taste, use oxygenating, I guess, effect to open up the taste of the wine. After that, I actually, just to keep it fresh, I refrigerated it overnight, and then I opened it. It's been out of the fridge for a while, for some hours now, which is kind of like, I was on the way back from the store where my partner works, so it was in the car for like an hour, but it wasn't exposed to any heat. It was exposed to basically room temperature, whatever it is. 68, 65 degrees, something like that. So that's optimal temperature that wine is supposed to be exposed to, like maximum, unless you want it cooked, which you don't. So let's taste this wine. Just to let you guys know, this winery, I just spoke to the marketing director of the winery. Hi, Ellie, if you're watching this. Eli, Ellie, I don't know how to pronounce your name. And he told me that, so they produce about 300,000 bottles a year. He told me that, he says, we are borderline boutique. Boutique is usually, some of these wineries in that region, in Judea Samaria, produce about 50,000 or 100,000. These guys produce 300,000. Once you get up to, like, say, 500,000 or 1 million, you stop being boutique and you're entering into the realm of, like, mass production. So, like, let's say Barcan Winery, for example, or Recanati, they're making anywhere between 5 or 10 million a year. They're already mass production, at the mass production level. So let's try this out. So we're not using any decanter, we're not using any aerator, just going for the gusto here. I have a stemless glass, as you guys could see. I just like prefer it for like stylistic purposes. I like stemless glassware. Even though like they say that if you hold your hand on the glass, you change the temperature. That's why most people hold it on the stem. But I don't know. I mean, you hold it for like 2 seconds. I don't know what that really does to the temperature of the glass of the wine. It's probably negligible. Just my, I guess, amateur's educated guess. Really, sometimes there's some wines where the smell is totally different than the taste. So there's some wines where the smell is better than the taste, and then maybe the taste is better than the smell. A great wine smells amazing, tastes amazing. It doesn't necessarily have to taste the same as it smells, but you always want to get that smell. There are some wines I could just smell all day. I don't even need to taste them to know they're great. I can just smell them and it's great. You close your eyes and you just imagine, whatever it is that you're smelling, and it's fantastic. So let's smell this one. In this particular case, I'm smelling like toffee. I'm smelling a little bit of like dark chocolate. Let's get something else here. Maybe it's like the what do they call the maraschino cherries? Like the dark cherries. Everything like dark, either dark fruit, dark berry, dark toffee, dark chocolate. Everything is like dark, but it's very rich. It's not too like woody, and it's not even like too tanniny. It is fruity, but it's like dark fruit. It's like dark berry, dark chocolate, stuff like that. I probably would recommend having this wine, with dark chocolate, like a nice like Swiss chocolate. Yeah, let's try this. So I didn't say bracha yet, so Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, brei paragafen. Well, so the main, I guess I would say palate, what I would call palate strike or palate hit, but it's like all over, is that toffee, is that dark chocolate, is that cherry. But at the same time, there's also a tannic presence, like a this is what's used to hold the wine together. Usually, I mean, I would only take a guess that it's from the Shiraz part. Shiraz is very tannic. It's very like puckery. If you guys ever have just a Shiraz, like a straight up Shiraz, puckery. So this is like a blend. Shiraz is 42%, but it's still like it really holds it in the tannin. Super dry, but not like dry where it makes your face curl up in the back of your head, where you look like the guy from The Mask, Jim Carrey's The Mask. It's not like that, but it's like you feel the coffee, you feel the dark chocolate, you feel the cherries, and then it's like puckery. Yeah, I mean, it's a great wine. I just want to say, like, Yaakov Berg and Yaakov Oria, there's two winemakers. He's actually the main winemaker, Yaakov Oria. He did a really great job on this. If you haven't tried any of these wines, You can feel free to email me at info@westbankwines.com. I can tell me where you live. I can direct you to a place if these wines are available. Most of them are available in the New York area, the LA area, Miami, Chicago. And so my goal, myself and my partner Yoshua, is to bring these wines to places, every place except those places that I just listed, which is pretty much, I would say, 95% of the United States and the rest of the world. There has been a lot of interest. We've got a lot of emails, a lot of contact from people. We want the wine, we want the wine. Folks, we're going to get it to you as soon as we can, as soon as we get the ability, God willing. And just to leave you on this note, if you haven't tried Psagot Peak, 95 rating from Decanter, 42% Shiraz, 42% Petite Syrah, and 16% Mourvèdre. There's actually another one similar to this, Shiraz Mourvèdre. I believe it's from Gush Etzion, also really great wine, about $35 on the shelf. All these wines are great. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side, and thank you for watching.